Emily Buca. Up until February, I was the executive director of the Northside Industrial Development Company. And now Juan Garrett, Juan, are you? He will there. Is the executive director. And during our tenure, we have been a big partner, or they have been a big partner of ours, with the Environmental Protection Agency. And in fact, over 7 years, we have received to invest in small municipalities along the, along the rivers, in brownfield assessments, community-wide brownfield assessments. In fact, we've received about $5 million, and we put it to good use. We've done investments in 25 separate municipalities, all down the Ohio, all the way up to Freeport, and we've done a few in neighboring counties as well. We have about 80 sites in our inventory. The money that the EPA has provided and that we have used effectively has provided private investment in the amount of $92 million. That's in addition to $40 million in additional private funds as well. Public funds. We've created about 2,800 jobs, and we've developed, or plan to develop, about 1,800 units, including the 41 that we have done here, helped with here. We have 700 acres in our inventory, and we've developed about over 500. I'm very, very pleased that we have such dignitaries here today. Honorable Michael Doyle, the Mayor, Chief Executive Fitzgerald, hiding behind the mayor.
Good place to be, sir.
Okay, there you go. There you go. Stay out of the line of fire. Councilman Burgess, Secretary Quigley. I want to make sure I get everybody here. And of course, the Regional Administrator, Sean Garvin. And I would like, because we have been working on this for so long and so hard, and we're very proud of what we've been able to accomplish. Obviously, the EPA has been not displeased with us, or we would not be here today to get some additional funds. But I did want to kind of point out our team. In addition to myself, we also work very closely with Doug Scourin, who, raise your hand again, who's very good at writing proposals and also administering a lot of the paperwork that the EPA requires, and of course Juan. So between the three of us, we've also gone out of our way to work very hard with community involvement. In addition to the municipal governments of these 25 municipalities, we've also spent a lot of time with our community development corporations and the local people to raise their input. Our partners are, of course, the county, the city, all these municipalities, and federal government, for which we're very grateful. I'm going to turn this over now to Sean, who will give Juan the check.
Well, it's great to be here. Emily, thank you very much. Thank you for your leadership. We would not be here today if it not for you. Congressman Doyle, always a pleasure.
Thank you.
Mayor Peduto, County Executive Fitzgerald, my good friend and colleague, Secretary Quigley, and Councilman Burris. Reverend, it's great for you to join us. I'm here to announce EPA has selected the Northside Industrial Development Company with a $400,000 brownfields assessment grant that goes to both assessing hazardous contaminants and petroleum contaminants on sites in and around the Pittsburgh metropolitan area. Now, we can't do any of this without the leadership of Congressman Doyle and Senator Casey, who's represented by Jordan Ball here today. When I present big checks, it's because Congress has provided us with the funding to do that. And I have to tell you that Congressman Doyle and Senator Casey both have been huge supporters of brownfields and huge supporters of making sure that we really focused on our communities. And what we're talking about here really is about quality of life. It's about brownfields, but it really is about making visible differences in our communities, which is a huge focus of Administrator Gina McCarthy. And you don't really make visible differences in our communities without strong partnerships and collaboration amongst governments, nonprofit organizations, businesses, and the citizens at large. And that's what we're really talking about when we're talking about Northside and what they have done and what they have accomplished. Now, the mayor and the county executive, both of their focus really is on economic development, but it's not economic development for economic development's sake. It really is focused on how does it better improve the lives of those in the county and those in the city. Now, the Brownfields program is really kind of a perfect tool to help in that. Since 1995, the Brownfields program has been able to leverage $23 billion for the investment that it's put in. So in almost $18 leverage for every dollar of brownfields dollars that have been expended. It also has led to cleanups of 1,200 sites and almost 110,000 jobs as part of it. And now this is an extremely competitive fund. This grant program is highly competitive, and as you heard Emily talk about, Doug and others, Joe Nowak from EPA and my staff really put a lot of time and effort into this. And I have to tell you, I want to congratulate Northside Industrial Development Corporation. With this $40,000, their total now comes to $5 million in brownfields assessment grants that they have received, which is more than any other location in the Mid-Atlantic region. They have assessed more than 155 properties in 25 municipalities for more than 500 acres of brownfields that have been redeveloped. And I think that deserves a round of applause for all of you. There's so many examples that I could point to. You could talk about Carnegie Robotics. You can talk about where we stand here today. But they go on and on and on. And the funding that we're providing here will continue to allow them to do that assessment, to really focus on what I said is the overall quality of life. What Brownfields really does is really help with community health, environment, and really creating an economic engine. And you look at S&A Homes and the work that they did here, they put large investments into bringing in local people to work on their projects, and that's really what Brownfields is all about. And I can't really stand here without talking about kind of leveraging of benefits, where you're fixing a brownfield, you're taking care of the contamination, but you're also dealing with water quality and you're dealing with runoff. You're also helping to deal with climate change. The president came out with his climate action plan. EPA recently came out with our clean power plan to look to cut the largest set of emissions from our power plants. By 2030, we'll have reduced emissions by 32% from 2005 levels. But when you look at brownfields, it also helps with climate change. You're talking about now providing places to work, places to shop, places to live, places to recreate right in your neighborhoods, which really cuts down when you're talking about cost of energy. And so I really want to point to the continued successes that Northside has had. Look at this funding as another opportunity for more successes here in the city of Pittsburgh and the surrounding county. I want to congratulate Emily for all of her hard work and great leadership. And I'd like to ask Juan Garrett to come up for the official grant presentation. Emily, why don't you come up also, because I don't believe this happens without your participation. And we'll do official photographs, but congratulations.
Thank you
very much. We'll get around to pictures with all of us as soon as we're done. Thank you all and congratulations.
We're going to move on, but for those of you who have stood in my shoes here as the so-called MC, you immediately remember what you forgot. And I forgot to mention Joe Nowak, who drove from Philadelphia with the check. So we would always want to be nice to Joe, who we could not have accomplished these things without his efforts and his help. And also that Andy Haynes, is Andy here? I'm sorry, Andy, I've never met you. So you've done a very, very nice job here. So next on our list is the Honorable Mike Doyle.
Emily, thank you very much, and it's good to have Sean Garvin here and Secretary Quigley and our colleagues in city and county government, County Executive Fitzgerald, Mayor Peduto, City Councilman Burgess. It's really, my job is so much easier when you have a team of local people that share the same vision for our city, for our region. We all work together to try to move this city of Pittsburgh that we all love and want to see our kids and grandkids stay here, move forward, and it's a lot easier when you have a team to work with. And I want to say something about Sean Garvin and Secretary Quigley too. I want to thank you both on another subject for working with us on our combined sewer overflows and sanitary sewer overflows. That's a big project here in Allegheny County. For those of you that aren't aware, 83 of our communities are under a federal consent decree to take care of what is a serious health issue. And we here in the city of Pittsburgh and Allegheny County are looking forward to working with you in a way that utilizes some of the state-of-the-art kinds of technologies that are coming online, looking for a lot of green solutions and coming up with a plan that our ratepayers and our citizens here in Allegheny County can afford. So we want to say up front, we appreciate how you've been working with us, and we want to continue that partnership down the road. Sean, thanks for coming all the way from that other city on the other end of the state. Some little small town there. Your baseball team's not doing so good, but
No, they're not.
but anyways, I want to thank you for coming all the way from Philadelphia to make this presentation. I want to say without fear of contradiction that this assistance that you've given today is going to be put to good use. We still have many brownfield sites to clean up and repurpose. And I think here in Pittsburgh, we've got a strong track record of successfully redeveloping these vacant, often polluted old industrial sites and transforming them into economic assets for our community's future. The city of Pittsburgh really has been a leader in revitalization and sustainability, and the Northside Industrial Development Company has earned a place among the many contributors of that success. This organization has really done a great job. They have been an effective catalyst for economic and community development and the redevelopment of brownfields throughout our region. Thus far, and I think Sean has mentioned this, Northside Industrial Development Company has had an impact on 22 municipalities in our region and over 547 acres. They've received a number of similar grants from the EPA in the past, and as Sean told you, these are very, very competitive programs. We're competing with organizations all over the United States of America. It speaks very highly of this organization that they've received multiple awards. Now, why are we making this announcement here in Homewood at the Station Square Apartments today? The reason we're doing it is this is a good example of the important work that Northside Industrial Development Company's been doing. This property here that we stand on was once an abandoned brownfield site. But thanks to the redevelopment projects that Northside Industrial Development Corporation does, today it provides decent, affordable homes for older members of our community. These apartments that we see are tangible proof of the success of these programs. Their redevelopment efforts alone in this area have helped support more than 1,500 jobs, created much-needed affordable housing, and leveraged millions of dollars in private investment. And I think that's the key that a lot of people need to understand, that this money that comes from the federal government, from your tax dollars, leverages lots of private investment in our communities. And that's why you can see that we can transform some of these old industrial sites into viable community projects where people can grow and prosper. The grant that Sean announced today is going to allow them to continue with this important work. This is a model, this Northside Industrial Development Company is a model for redevelopment organizations everywhere. So I just want to say, Juan, and for all the hard work that all of you have done, Emily, for all the hard work you've done over the many years too, and all the positive attention that you continue to bring on the city of Pittsburgh. We want to commend you and thank you for bringing jobs, homes, economic growth to our local communities. We want to wish you continued success as you go forward with this work, and I know you're going to do a great job in taking care of this money and turning it into something productive for Pittsburgh and the community. For all of the residents here, thank you for allowing us to host this event today, and for being here today, and I hope your summer's going well, and we look forward to being back with you soon. Emily, it's all yours.
Well, thank you, Representative Doyle. Without all your support in Washington, this money would not flow. Very quickly, Mr. Quigley, Secretary Quigley. But before I forget, I just forgot another thing. Your money, the EPA money, we have, Doug, do you know how much? I mean, it's at least $800,000 worth of industrial state reuse money, which requires a 25% match. So we've used our EPA money for the 25% match and the state's money. So you have every right to be up here as well.
Thank you, Emily, for those bona fides. I appreciate it. It's a privilege to be here this afternoon on behalf of Governor Wolf. He sends his greetings and his congratulations for this great announcement to Northside, to this wonderful facility here at Homewood. It's an honor to be with my colleagues, county executive, the mayor, councilman, congressman, my colleague and friend Sean. This is a great day for Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh has many of these great days. Pittsburgh is a leader in brownfield development. You know, we're celebrating in Pennsylvania the 20th anniversary of our state brownfield program. And over the last 20 years, we've rehabilitated 5,400 properties, created 98,000 jobs, generated about $620 million of state investment, and multiples of that in terms of private investment. And all those numbers, as big as they are and as significant as they are, really don't add up to a lot until you consider the folks seated here before us. You know, the residents of this community that are benefiting from a beautiful new facility, which, by the way, has geothermal heating and is going for LEED certification. So talk about making a statement on climate change and healthier communities. The facility that we're in is doing that. But the transformative power of brownfield redevelopment, the work that Juan and Emily have done, it is just tremendously motivating. I speak as a former mayor. I was too long ago, 27 years ago, I took office as the youngest mayor in Pennsylvania. I was 8 years old. and we didn't have a brownfield program in my town. And I think about now how important this tool is for community leaders to really provide the vision and the tools and the resources to make these kinds of transformative investments. It's a tremendous positive statement in the future. It's all about the vision, and I just want to congratulate all of you for your commitment to your communities, your commitment to each other, and your vision for a better community. Congratulations.
Thank you, Secretary. And now, Chief Executive Rich Fitzgerald, would you please step forward now?
Well, thanks, Emily, and thanks, Juan, for the work that the Northside Industrial Development Company does. And I want to thank Administrator Garvin and Secretary Quigley for their continued support. I'll be, probably echoing a lot of what Congressman Doyle said, but, Congressman Doyle deserves an awful lot of credit. I mean, he talks about the local folks, but for Bill and I, to be able to go to Washington and have someone like Congressman Doyle and Senator Casey who support so many of the initiatives that we're doing here locally, it's so important that we have that leadership, and Mike does that. He just is such a great partner for us to be able to reach out and help. And he said also, paraphrasing, about the partnership, because it really is the partnership of all of us coming together. The city can't do it by themselves. Councilman Burgess and Mayor Peduto certainly have a lot of great ideas, and we think we do too, but we don't have the resources to be able to do it by ourselves. It's a partnership that we're able to do. And now, with what's going on in this city and what's going on in this region, all we need is a little bit of the leverage to be able to move it forward. And when we clean up the brownfield sites, the private sector comes rushing in because the market is there. The market is there to want to build in this neighborhood, whether it be housing, whether it be commercial development. But we need this help from the EPA. So, Mr. Garvin, thank you so much, because it really does help. And thank Mr. Secretary, Governor Wolf, your administration. What you guys are doing is terrific stuff. And again, the partnership that we have with our state leaders as well. Senator Costa and Representative Gainey, who represent this area in Harrisburg, also a great partnership that we're able to work with. So it's all of us working together with the community groups who come to us with a lot of the good ideas, and a lot of the good partnership that we have is tremendous. So we want to continue to do this. All we got to do is clean up some of these sites. Our industrial past is something we're very proud of, but that legacy and sometimes has left us with things that they may not have known about, decades ago when they were developing on the sites, but we're dealing with now. So building these sites now with LEED certified, with geothermal, with sustainability that the mayor and I continue to work on together, with the councilman, is something we can be very, very proud of. So congratulations to everybody, and let's keep working together. Thank you.
Thank you, Rich. Mayor. The only mayor.
Thank you, Emily. And first off, to the residents of Homewood Station, thank you for having us. You got a pretty nice place here. It's my first time here, and coming in through the doors and looking around saying, did it well. It was done right. And I guess, there's a lot of big numbers being thrown out, a lot of job creation and economic development numbers, but when you can take a site that people had said you're not going to be able to develop on it because of its past use, and create from that a quality place that is affordable for people to be able to stay in the neighborhood they call home, and that's really a win. And that type of stuff doesn't happen unless you got the partnership these guys were talking about. It has to be a commitment from the federal government saying we're ready and willing to invest in environment and in people. It has to be administered and come through the state, and then it needs the local leadership on the county and the city level to be able to do it. So yes, we have a lot of brownfields. We have a lot of old industrial sites along rivers. We have acres and acres, but we also have it in our neighborhoods. We have places like my dad's Uncle Lou had the Texaco station down at Frankstown and Wheeler. It sits there because it used to have gas tanks under it, and we can clean it up, and we can make it a place where there will be a new business, where there will be new homes. Or we can see that development happen in Cranberry and in places where there are cornfields. And what happens when that happens, when you don't invest, is you see what happened over the past 40 years in this city, where we declined and this area sprawled further and further out. What we're doing is we're saying we're going to invest back in our neighborhoods. We're going to invest back into making the areas that had been the centers 40, 50 years ago, the center of action once again. And we're going to watch people move back into the community. The congressman talked about the sewer overflow. We all know that when it rains really hard, that gets mixed in with our raw sewage and it ends up in our rivers, and we can't live like that anymore. And we're going to clean it up. But we have the opportunity to look in neighborhoods like Homewood and look right out and see all these properties that are out there. Partner with groups like Operation Better Block, Rosedale Block Cluster, and right down the street with Kingsley, and come up with ways to create parks. a nice green space for kids to be able to play in the neighborhood, and have that water stay there and not ever have to go into a pipe and not have to build giant systems, but be able to restore a neighborhood, clean up a brown field, and be able to make it into something green and beautiful. And you know what's great about all of this? It's happening right now, and it's only going to happen more. I keep looking at that for sale sign over across the street. You know why there's a for sale sign? Because this is here now, and that has a lot more value. You know what you're going to see in the next few years? Somebody restoring that, and it's going to continue and continue, and you already see it up and down Susquehanna, and soon up and down Homewood Avenue as well. And right in the heart is the example of how a program that starts at the federal level becomes successful in a neighborhood. So thank you for hosting us. Thank you for being that example of how this can work. And thank you for being the leaders and seeing this new part of Homewood come back.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilman Burgess?
So, Mr. Secretary, on the federal and state level, I want to welcome you to Homewood. We are 1 block from the church I have pastored for the last 30 years. We are 3 blocks from the house I live in and 2 blocks from the house I grew up in. So, I think as most of the folks in the room know, I think I'm well qualified to welcome you to this community. It is certainly, we want to congratulate Northside on the grant and on all the work they have done. But really, I've come here to really echo, I am just grateful to be part of the partnership. We're grateful for Congressman Doyle and all of his great work and for his friendship over a long stretch of years. We're glad to be on a team with a great county executive and a great mayor, Mayor Peduto, County Executive Fitzgerald. And my job is really as a local representative just to sort of make it happen. And so for those of you who are visiting with us, although you see us here in this low rise, Phase 2 has already been funded. There'll be 40 new houses built all up and down Susquehanna, Tioga, right around here. And that's already been funded by Oxford. I saw Oxford representatives somewhere in the back, and that's going to be funded. And so we want to just continue it. I believe that Pittsburgh needs more affordable housing. I think the place that has the most land is this area in Homewood, so why not put 2 together? Why not put the place that has the most land with the place with the need? And I think that's what we're here to do. And so I just want to welcome everybody. I'm just grateful for all of the leadership, and I'm grateful to be a very small part, but a cheerleader for Homewood, and say what we're capable of doing in this place when the community and the all levels of government all to come together. There's just no secret and no limit to what we're capable of doing. Congratulations, and just let's go forward and do even more stuff.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilman. And now, the man who built the thing, okay? Just a minor detail. Andy Haynes, S&A Homes Development.
I far from built this thing, but first off, 2 things. One is, Mayor, I think we've exceeded the occupancy here in the room, so if you could get a waiver for that, I really appreciate that. The second thing is the EPA officials, especially Doug Scarron, have been calling me for months to set something up, and we were really a little reluctant, only because we're still trying to finish the first floor commercial space, which I'll talk about in a minute. We really wanted to showcase what this building really looked like when it finally comes to completion. And somebody from my staff said, don't be stupid, the building looks great, have them, and let's move forward. And the first floor space, which is over here, is actually a business incubator that we're working with Operation Better Block on. They're leasing the business spaces and then going to bring in local businesses for that first commercial space. I think we have an insurance company coming in, a home health care, and they're still working on the other ones. So we're not only providing affordable housing for seniors from the Homewood area, we're also providing a space where businesses can get their start and hopefully stay in the Homewood area and develop more jobs and economic development. And as a developer, Without the EPA's involvement, without the mayor and the county executive and Councilman Burgess, I couldn't do my job. Yes, we did build this building, but we built this building because of the help of a lot of people, and especially those gentlemen who work at the federal and the state levels to provide funding that I can leverage to develop affordable housing and economic development. It couldn't be done. On this development, we actually use federal low-income housing tax credits that I know Congressman Doyle's involved in retaining. We used them and brought in a private investor, RBC Capital and the Bank of New York Mellon, who are both here today. They made a substantial equity investment into this development. But then we also had to go out, because they only provide about 80% of the financing, then we had to go out and secure other sources of financing with the Urban Redevelopment Authority, who actually helped clean up the site and sell it to us at a nominal fee. They helped provide financing. Bridgeway Capital, which is a local bank, investment company that produces starting loans for companies and also economic development projects. Without them, this wouldn't be done. Community Empowerment Association, Operation Better Block, as mentioned before, the Homewood Community Collaborative, all helped us work on assuaging community concerns about employment and job opportunities for local residents. We had a fantastic Section 3 hiring process with Community Empowerment Association, Rashad Birdsong. There were 40, 50 guys working on this site at different points in time who then got full-time employment through their subcontractors. It's part of it. The minority and women business enterprise participation was 37% on this project. We really worked extra hard with community empowerment, with Operation Better Block, to make sure that people who live in Homewood could work here and give them an opportunity to remain working in their neighborhood. This beautiful building was designed by Rothschild Doino Collaborative. They are a city-based architectural firm. They work on a lot of studies in neighborhoods on what they can do and think creatively. They're very creative, as you can see from our building. They're also pretty expensive, but other than that, they do a really good job. I'm kidding, I'm just kidding. Also, Gateway Engineers, the local civil engineer, Pittsburgh-based civil engineer, had to really deal with the old water and sewer lines that we have here. That's a challenge in itself. When you build on an urban core fabric, you run into a lot of things you don't expect. Most of all, I'd like to thank PHFA, Pennsylvania Housing Finance Agency, which is the allocation of the tax credits. Carla Falkenstein is here. Brian Hudson runs PHFA. And not only do we have some of the best mayors and county executives and congressmen and EPA secretaries here, we have a fantastic director of PHFA, Brian Hudson, who does a lot of investment into the city of Pittsburgh. And also finally, Senator Costa and Representative Gainey. Without their support at the local level, we want to be able to do this project. And actually, they were very influential in allowing us to do the next phase, which, as Councilman said, will be 40 units scattered throughout the neighborhood behind this site. So thank all of you. It's been a great partnership. We look forward to many more. Thank you.
Well, I was sitting there and I haven't forgotten anything. So it's all wrapped up. So thank you all for coming, and once again, thank you to you, Sean, and you, Joe, for driving from Philly.